but I'm just too afraid that I'll be wrong. Don't wanna know if you're looking into her eyes. She's holding on to you so tight.
Mr. Leon, your name, try to understand. It will take at least another hour to reach the mansion. And I have been watching you this whole time. You are in pain. You can't even sit properly. And I can't watch you suffer like this. So please, lift your foot. Wangxian immediately replied, "Why? I'm your sister or something that you can't see me in pain." The moment those words left her mouth, Mr. Leon suddenly went silent. Then slowly he lifted his eyes and stared directly at her. His gaze had suddenly become sharp, cold, dangerous, so intense that for 1 second, even Wangxian got scared looking into his eyes. And then, without breaking eye contact, he spoke in a deep, low voice. "You are not my sister, you are my wife." The moment those words left Mr. Leon's mouth, Wangxian froze in shock. For 1 second, her mind went completely blank. And then, suddenly, anger exploded inside her. And then, without even thinking at once, your name slapped him hard across the face. The slap was so strong that his face turned to the side instantly. Mr. Leon went completely silent. Still sitting in the same position, he did not move at her for a few seconds. Meanwhile, Urnip was breathing heavily in anger and said, "Wangxian, how dare you say something like that to me? And don't you understand when I already told you once that I don't want your help? Then what exactly is your problem? And now I finally understand why you drove the car so fast and brought me inside this forest. You know very well that no one would be here at this hour. And you also know that I would not leave the car alone in the middle of this jungle at night. So don't stay under the misunderstanding that just because I'm alone, so you can say or do anything you want with me." She pointing at him while saying firmly, "Wangxian, now listen carefully. If you ever try something like this with me again, I will throw you out of this car myself. And after that, even you know what these wild animals in this forest will do to you." As soon as Wangxian finished speaking, Mr. Leon slowly turned his face towards her again. But this time, he did not say a single word. Even after getting slapped, he was still looking at her calmly, almost lovingly. And somehow, that made Urnip even more angry, because the way he was looking at her felt dangerously attractive, intense, almost pulling her towards him. And Urnip hated that feeling. She could not accept the fact that anyone other than Taehyung could affect her like this. That's why the more Mr. Leon looked at her that way, the more frustrated she became. And in that same frustration and anger, Wangxian was just about to yell at him again, when suddenly he gently held the finger she was pointing at him with. Before she could understand what he was doing, he slowly guided her hand down around his waist instead, and then suddenly he pulled her into his arms and hugged her tightly. Wangxian froze instantly in shock. Before she could even react properly, he leaned closer near her ear and whispered softly, "Enough. Please calm down, my love." He hugged her to calm her down, so her mind would not take any more stress or emotional pressure. And this time, his voice no longer sounded like Mr. Leon anymore. it was Taehyung's voice, the real one. And the moment 𝗠𝗵𝗲 heard it so closely near her ear, her entire body froze in shock. 𝗠𝗵𝗲's breathing instantly became uneven. For a moment, her mind completely stopped working, because the voice she had just heard so closely near her ear was not Mr. Leon's voice anymore. It was Taehyung's, the real one. Wangxian froze inside his arms. Her fingers slowly tightened around his shirt unconsciously. And before she could even process anything properly, Taehyung slowly pulled away from the hug. Then quietly, he removed the Mr. Leon's face mask. The moment 𝗠𝗵𝗲 saw his real face clearly in front of her, her eyes widened again. Wangxian, Taehyung, she whispered breathlessly, shock, confusion, relief, anger. All emotions crushed inside her at once. Meanwhile, Taehyung kept looking directly into her eyes silently. There was tiredness in his eyes now, as if he had been hiding this truth alone for too long. Then finally, he spoke in a low voice. Taehyung, I know you are angry, and honestly, you have every right to be. Wangxian kept staring at him silently. Her heartbeat was still racing fast. Then after a few seconds, she said in a disbelief tone, Wangxian, so all the time you were pretending to be Mr. Leon? Taehyung slowly nodded, yes. Now everything finally started making sense inside Wangxian's mind. The face mask she had once seen in Taehyung's office room was actually Mr. Leon's face. And today, Taehyung had worn that same face mask before coming to the hospital with her. Wangxian looked at him in complete confusion. Wangxian, but Taehyung, why did you do all this? Taehyung stayed silent for a moment. Then finally, he looked away slightly and replied in a low voice, Taehyung, because I don't have any other choice. Because Wangxian could say anything else, she moved slightly in her seat. But the moment she did, a sharp pain shoot through her ankle. A painful expression instantly appeared on her face. And Taehyung noticed it immediately. Without saying a single word, he simply stretched his hand towards her, silently gesturing for her to place her foot on his hand. Wangxian was about to do it, but the moment her eyes landed on the bandage wrapped around his injured hand, she froze. Because that injury was the one she herself had given him. Wangxian, no Taehyung, your hand is already injured. Don't worry about me. I'm fine like this. But at the same moment, Taehyung gently held her ankle with his other hand and carefully placed her foot over his lap anyway. Then while looking at her softly, he said, Taehyung, 𝗠𝗵𝗲, I'm ready to endure 1,000 injuries for you, but I can't watch you stay in pain. After saying that, he slowly started massaging her foot gently. His touch was careful, smoothing, warm. And then suddenly, he softly twisted her ankle once. Wangxian flinched slightly in surprise, but the next second, the certain nerves in her foot settled back into place. So smoothly that Wangxian herself did not even realize when the pain disappeared completely. Taehyung then looked up at her and said quietly, Taehyung, now move your ankle and tell me, does it still hurt? Wangxian slowly moved her foot carefully, but this time there was no pain at all. Surprised, she immediately placed her foot back down properly, Wangxian. No, it's absolutely fine now. Taehyung gave her a small look before saying, Taehyung, if you had let me help you earlier, we would not have had to stay in pain for this long. Wangxian looked at him helplessly and replied softly, Wangxian, it's not my fault. How was I supposed to know it was you? Even though there were so many moments when your voice, your touch, your eyes felt painfully familiar to me. But I never imagined that you would came wearing someone else's face. Taehyung looked at her quietly for a second before replying, I know your name, you don't need to explain it to me. Then after a small pause, Wangxian lowered her eyes regretfully and whispered softly, Wangxian, I'm sorry. If I had known it was you, I would never have slapped you. Taehyung smiled faintly at her words. It's okay, your name. I don't feel bad about your slap. In fact, I was happy seeing how loyal you are to me. Wangxian, but Taehyung, why did you do all this? Why did you go to the hospital wearing Mr. Leon's face mask? In fact, why did you even make a fake mask of his face? And what is that you are hiding from me? That you had to give me sleeping pills every night? Wangxian's voice slowly became emotional again. Wangxian, tell me, Taehyung, what are you hiding from me? Who was that girl I saw inside the mansion? And where do you go every midnight? Please tell me everything. Taehyung immediately held her hand gently and said softly, Taehyung, relax, your name, relax. This time, I don't want to hide anything from you anymore. Then after a small pause, he lowered his gaze slightly. Taehyung, because now, this is not just about secrets anymore. It's about your mental health. If I had told you everything earlier, so maybe your mind would not have gone through so much pressure and stress. I'm sorry, your name. The reason your mental health started getting affected, it's all cause of me. The moment he said that, Wangxian immediately placed her hand over his injured one. Wangxian, don't blame yourself, Taehyung. I know you love me, and I know whatever you have been hiding from me, there must be a reason behind it. But now, I want to know everything. Please tell me the truth. Answer all my questions, Taehyung. Taehyung slowly closed his eyes and let out a deep breath, as if after years, he was finally about to tell someone the truth buried inside his heart. Then slowly, he opened his eyes again and looked at Wangxian. Taehyung, your name, you think I copied Mr. Leon's face, and I created a mask that looks exactly like him. But that's not the truth. Wangxian looked at him in confusion. Then Taehyung said quietly, the truth is, Mr. Leon does not even exist. Wangxian, what? Wangxian's eyes widened instantly. What do you mean? Taehyung looked directly into her eyes and replied, Taehyung, yes, your name. Every single time you meet Mr. Leon during your job, that was not someone other person, it was me. Wangxian's breathing became uneven in shock. Meanwhile, Taehyung continued, Taehyung, this face on the mask is not copied from anyone. It was specially customized and created a completely new face that belongs to nobody in this world. Wangxian stared at him in completely disbelief. Wangxian, but why? Why would you do something like this? Why are you hiding your real identity, your real face from the world? For a few seconds, Taehyung stayed silent. Then finally, he spoke in a low voice. Taehyung, why I did all this, what the real reason was, and who that girl is. You will get all your answers only after we reach the mansion. After saying that, Taehyung quietly started the car again, and everything he had told her till now had already left Wangxian completely shattered in shock. Nothing felt real anymore. Almost an hour later, the car finally entered the mansion grounds. Both of them walked inside the mansion hall silently. The atmosphere felt unusually heavy. Then suddenly, Taehyung stopped and looked at Wangxian. Taehyung, you want to know the truth, right? Wangxian, yes. Wangxian replied softly. Taehyung, then wait here, I will be back. After saying that, Taehyung walked towards his office room. A few moments later, he returned holding a key in his hand. And the moment 𝗏𝗵𝗲 saw that key, her eyes widened slightly. Wangxian thought to herself in shock. Wangxian, that's the same key that one I saw in his hand that night. So my suspicion was right. There really is some secret hidden inside that locked door. Meanwhile, Taehyung looked at her seriously and said, 𝗏𝗵𝗲, promise me, whatever I am about to show you, whatever I am about to tell you, will stay only between us. Wangxian became slightly nervous hearing that. But now, she needed the truth at any cost. So after a small pause, she nodded slowly. Wangxian, I promise, I would not tell anyone. Taehyung looked at her for a few seconds, then finally he said, come with me. He started walking towards the last room at the very end of the mansion corridor, and Wangxian slightly followed behind him. The deeper they walked into the corridor, the heavier Wangxian's heart would become. Finally, they stopped in front of that locked room. Before opening the door, Taehyung suddenly turned towards her and said softly, Taehyung, 𝗏𝗵𝗲, stay behind me. For a moment, 𝗏𝗵𝗲 got slightly confused hearing that, but she still nodded quietly. Wangxian, okay. Then slowly, Taehyung inserted the key into the lock and opened the door. The moment the door opened, 𝗏𝗵𝗲's eyes widened completely. Her entire body froze. It felt as if the ground beneath her feet disappeared instantly. Because inside that room, a girl was laying unconscious on the bed with her eyes closed. Wangxian could not believe what she was seeing. She had been living inside this mansion for so many days, and yet she never even realized someone else was secretly living here. Meanwhile, Taehyung slowly turned back towards her and said softly, "Your name. Come inside." But Wangxian remained frozen at the door in shock. Seeing her terrified expression, Taehyung gently held her hand. "Taehyung, don't be scared. Come." And slowly, holding Taehyung's hand tightly, Wangxian stepped inside the room. The girl was laying silently on the bed. Her hair was messy. Her body looked extremely weak. But even in that condition, she looked unbelievably beautiful. 𝗂𝗵 slowly turned towards Taehyung with trembling eyes, and in a shaking voice, she whispered, "Wangxian, who is she?" Taehyung looked at the girl silently for a few seconds. Then finally, he spoke in a low voice. "She is the girl who changed my entire life."